back, everyone, to another episode of Innovation Alley. We're your hosts. I'm TowelManPurple,
I'm Bjorn.
and today we are going to bring our own renditions of Emerald to the table. I have an Emerald Amethyst style of deck, where Bjorn has an Emerald Ruby style of deck. But before we go any further, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. And if you're ever interested in finding us, there's a link to our Discord in the description as well. All right, so to kick it off, today I'm bringing Amethyst Emerald Evasives. So right off the gates, we're trying to just go in there, quest, and put up with our opponent as much as we can. We have 4 Archimedes as a 1-drop. Now that card hasn't really seen play since set 1.
Yeah.
And then we have Pascal and Pegasus, both of which are evasive 1/1s for 1. Well, Pascal needs a little bit of extra condition to have another character there, but it's still evasive nonetheless. Now, at the 2-drop slot, we have this beauty, Blue Fairy. 1/1 evasive, but whenever you play a Floodborn, you get to draw a card.
Yeah, do you have a lot of those?
Well, if we scroll down here a little bit, we have 4 Diablo, 4 Shift Archimedes, 4 Bell, and 4 Shift Pegasus. So we have 16 triggers on that.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I see now the Shift Archimedes is why you have the small one, huh?
Yes, most definitely. So speaking about the Shift Archimedes, let's pull it up. Shift 3, it's typically a 5 cost. It's a 1/4 stat line, quest for 2, obviously evasive, and it has Challenger 3. That's insane.
So it can just get in there and hit something pretty hard.
Yeah, for sure. If you're not taking the aggressive approach. And then if you're getting in there and you're trying to deal damage or take something out on a profitable challenge, well, we have one of our favorites, Bell.
Of course.
Right? So some damage shifting possibilities going on here. Another 5-drop that quests for 2 and can also trigger the Blue Fairy. And for
Yeah, of course.
now the shift line of Pegasus is
Oh, that's something we both have because it's just amazing, right? Like, why
So
would you
good.
not play that in Emerald?
it's so good. You can either make sure that you're questing faster on 3, or you just have a 5-drop that quests for 2 and you're applying more board presence.
Sure.
Now, if your deck isn't evolved around evasives, like this one happens to be, this will also give your entire team evasive for a full turn cycle if you shift it. So,
Oh yeah, that's really useful for my deck, but for yours, I assume that's not gonna be very useful.
yeah, it's not as useful in this one because we only have things like Bonsai, Fox, Crab, and Arthur. Oh, I'm sorry, and Bell. So we have some
enough.
targets that are relevant enough for the shift to take place.
You have a decent amount, but most of it is all evasive already, yeah.
So Bonsai as a 2. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's your only uninkable besides Diablo in the deck.
Yeah.
Is he so good?
Yeah, so he's a 3/2. On a challenging perspective, it will trade with probably trading up or into like a SME if you needed to.
Can't be brawled.
Nope, can't be brawled. Quest for 2. So it provides all the elements that you really want outside of it being inkable, right? Because it's uninkable. But that's not our main focus because we're not worried because we only play 8. Our uninkable count is 8.
Yeah, awesome.
Then, because I'm a fan of having at least 10 2-drops, we have 2 Sir Hiss.
Yeah, it's always good. You know, you can hit something for 3 with it or just quest, sure.
Yeah, it's either good board presence pressure for them not to quest in, or it allows us to push the pace. Then Fox, well, we all know about the Fox. This thing
You're playing Amethyst. You're playing 4 foxes. I mean,
this is like having a bullet in your pocket. You know, he just comes out and just shoots something down with a challenge because it has rush. We love it. Crab allows our characters to trade in the best way possible. So, as an example, you can have any of your 1-drops trade into just about anything, unless you're like dealing with turn 5 and above, if you play this character, because it gets +3 on the challenger aspect, right? So it basically allows you to do anything you want. Now, Diablo, our second piece for draw engine. Now, we're not
Yeah.
going to be able to shift, right? Because we're not playing the one drop. We're not playing any songs. This is a 60 character card deck without Mufasa. We're just trying it out. Who's also evasive. And obviously, you just get the draw as long as he's exerted every time your opponent draws on their turn. So that could get out of hand really quick.
Of course,
Then,
of course.
then at the 4-drop slot, we have Arthur, who's just a big statted body.
I mean, you don't see this card very often at all, I think.
Right. So it's a 4-drop. It's a 4/3 as far as strength and willpower. Quest for 2. It's just a big
Yeah,
statted body, and it evades
Sure,
the red removal.
yeah, I guess it's the same stats as Fox, so you can't Medusa him, for example. Sure.
Right. And then at the other 4-drop card, Tinkerbell. Now, Tinkerbell can give one of our non-evasive characters evasive, but it also provides the ability to quest for 2 at the 4-drop slot.
As if you didn't have enough evasives already. You know?
Exactly. So
Yeah, it's a solid evasive quester, if nothing else.
yeah, so the main focal point is we're able to kind of deal with threats that are too hindering as far as advancing their board state. And because we are so evasive, no pun intended, it's really difficult for them to interact with us unless they have their own presence of evasive or specific removal.
Yeah.
We already went over the Archimedes and the Pegasus and Belle. We also have Elsa, once again, evasive and rush. So it's like having another extra bullet in your pocket. It's just something that's concealed, right? It's really good. It
Sure.
comes in, and it gets to exert an opponent's character. So if there is a pesky threat that you want to rid of, you have the ability to exert it and just challenge it at will. Beautiful card. We love it. And then
Yeah,
the last...
it has to work really good with Bell.
Yeah, it does. It lets you set up Bell plays the same way it would let you set up Rapunzel plays if you're playing Amber. And then last but not least, another 5-drop evasive, Dawn Carnage. It's 4/4. It dodges all the red removal. You know, they have to do a lot with it to try to use their removal to get there, whether it's like an ice block or a crossbow or something of that nature. It's really difficult.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot harder to remove than Ray. So basically, you're thinking that the extra stats is more important than the extra lore.
Yes, so it was actually between this and Ray as the final slots in the deck. I was just using the stat line as something that I think would further help us.
Fair enough.
And there you have it for Amethyst Emerald Evasives. Now, Bjorn,
Awesome.
let's go over to your Ruby Morph Challenger.
Oh yes. So yeah, it's a deck about challenging. It started off as like, oh, I was wondering what I could use more for with Ruby, right? Because there are a few Ruby shift lines, but yeah, Morph can shift into any character ever. So targets are Pegasus. I mean, first of all, it's just amazing to have more targets for Pegasus to shift into. We have Queen of Hearts, which draws a lot of cards.
Definitely a draw engine for a
If you
challenger
want to get
deck.
her out for cheap, then yeah. Just a couple Milans. We don't have any small Milans, so the only shifting we will ever be able to do is with Morph. However, even if not, I mean, just playing Milan by herself isn't bad. Like, a 2/6, she deals 2 damage to 3 different characters. There's nothing to scoff at, right?
It's pretty good.
And of course, when she comes in shifting, she instead deals 5 damage to 3 characters, which is just game ending. So if we can save our Morph for that, we probably would. And of course, Clarabelle, super good draw engine, very good stat, shifts for 5. We have small Clarabelles as well, so we don't need to use Morph for it, but we can. Morph is just another way of like, getting the shift that you want to get in case you didn't get the small ones, right? Because we have 8 small Clarabelles and 8 small Pegasuses, so Pegasi. So probably we do not need to use Morph to shift into Pegasus or Clarabelle. But it might still be the case. Who knows?
Yeah, sometimes
Um,
awkward things take place in hands. It's not always like a
yeah,
specific statistical variance.
yeah, but I feel like most of the time, Morph will might be used to go into either Queen of Hearts or Mulan there. But the options are always open. Like Morph is such a good card. I cannot stress it enough.
It is for
As
sure.
long as it survives. 2/1 is not the best stats in the world, so it can be taken out by both Steel and Ruby somewhat easily. And yeah, um, to support that we have, the one drops are just Clarabelle and Pegasus because they're shift lines. With them, for 2 drops we have of course Ursula, Deceiver. Just gotta get rid of those songs. There are so many problematic songs.
I
Um,
agree.
You've got your small Pegasus, well, as you already mentioned. Then for 3, we have Clarabelle, as we already mentioned. We have just a couple Lyles.
I heard this was your favorite card. You want to tell me about it?
Oh, I hate it. I hate this card so much. It ruins my entire life. I'm out here trying to, like... If you're in Stockholm, you know that, like, 3 or 4 Lyles in any Emerald deck is the meta in order to beat me. Because I always bring my super fast aggro decks, and then they're just like, nah, Lyle. Like, I was in the store champ, I was number 1. See, by far, number 1. It had like 27 points. Number 2 had like 23 points going into top cut in the store champ. And who do I meet in top 8? The one guy running Emerald Amethyst with 4 Lyle.
Oh man, teched out just for you.
Yeah, no, it didn't matter that I had a higher seed and was on the play. That was just it. Yep.
It happens, man.
He's such a good card. I only put 2 in here because I think normally unless you're super afraid of hyper aggro, you only need 2. You don't only need to see like 1 each game.
Clearly, you weren't afraid of your unankable count because this
Oh
is your
yeah,
only
no,
unankable.
I actually didn't notice that. Yeah, this has got to be a record. I've made a list with 2 uninkables.
That's so good.
Yeah, we gotta call up Guinness World Records. But yeah, I mean, I guess since it's only uninkable, you could probably up it to 4 copies. Honestly, like that's okay in this deck. I just put it up 2s because usually you only want 2, since again he is an uninkable. But if that doesn't matter, then up to you if you want to run 4. Because when you challenge stuff, your stuff is going to get banished sometimes, and having the opponent lose lore from that, good. And speaking of lore and challenging, the Shere Khan, I have to admit, it's a bit of a meme card. Like, Shere Khan, it's never really been meta, but I think if any deck, it's this deck that he will be useful in. This is so challenge heavy, so challenge focused. Just putting him down and then challenging a bunch of stuff, suddenly gain lore out of nowhere. If you combine that with Lyle's lore loss, you get lore, your opponent loses lore, and it's just such a swing.
Yeah, this guy just makes your opponent not want to exert their characters.
And I mean, imagine if you have 2 Shere Khans out. You get 2 lore every turn you challenge. And speaking of challenging for lore, Goofy, he says that when you challenge with him, you gain 2 lore. And again, if Shere Khan's on the board, you gain even more.
Right.
So you can really, really do some fun things with that, Yeah, it's great. 2/4, rushes in, gain 2 lore when you challenge something with him. And yeah, and except for the big shift targets here, our only other big card is 4 Mauis. I mean, you can't have a challenger deck without Maui.
He's the
so
ultimate.
good at challenging.
He's the ultimate challenger, bro. He's so good.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know what they were smoking when they printed this card. Like, did they playtest this? Because this is vanilla stats. Like 6/5 for a 5 cost. That's vanilla stats. And his only downside is that he has Reckless, which really doesn't matter. Like that's barely a downside at all. You just
Right.
made him too powerful. Like he's a vanilla, except he also rushes. It's insane. Um, yeah, but just we don't have like our only removal is challenging stuff. So that's why you have 4 brawls here, so we can take out stuff without challenging. Sadly, it only takes out small stuff, but there are a lot of targets brawl can hit in every deck, so it should always be good in any matchup.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Ooh.
got a couple medallion weights here. It's some additional card draw. We have Terrible, we have Queen of Hearts, but medallion weight says that if you exert it and pay 2 ink, chosen character gets +2 strength this turn, and when that character challenges another character, you draw a card.
It sounds
So
like
it's just
everything you're looking for.
yeah, so you can give someone an extra boost for challenging, as well as just drawing cards. And for example, if you give Mulan extra power, suddenly, she's not dealing 2 damage to 3 characters, she's dealing 4 damage to 3 characters.
Right.
So that's a lot better. And speaking of, giving people more stats, Hidden Cove, a couple copies of Hidden Cove in here. Just to screw with the math. You get +1 strength and +1 willpower when you are inside of this location. The location only costs 1, and it only costs 1 to move there, so you can definitely, if you're about to do a tricky challenge, just play Hidden Cove, move someone in there, and suddenly the math will work out way better in your favor. Right?
It's so good. Yeah, for sure. You get
Yeah.
you get these last 4 cards here are just boosting the economy of your strength for all of your challenges.
Absolutely.
So good.
They're like, like it's mostly characters in here, but you have those tech options to really augment your character for sure.
Well, there you have it. That's the Ruby Morph Challengers deck from
Mhm.
Bjorn himself, Mr. Luxurious Locks. Now, if you guys happen to try these out, please hit us in the comments
Yeah.
and let us know how you feel. Tell us what you have discovered yourself. If maybe there's some edits that you think should be made, or any new card selections you think we should try out. Also,
Yeah, and don't forget to check back in a few days, because we upload every Tuesday and every Friday 2 times a week. So
that's right. That's right. And if you guys have anything that you think you want to throw at us for us to build around, be sure to drop that
yeah,
in the comments as well. We'd love to take on the challenge.
yeah, for sure.
That's going to wrap it up for us today. But we hope you guys have a fantastic remainder of your day. And until the next one, peace.